Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Morning. Are you Nick?
I am.
Hi, I'm Susan Tyler.
Hi, Susan. Pleasure to see you.
Nice to see you too. Are you calling in from Ohio?
I'm actually calling in from Massachusetts.
Oh, that's right. You're there now, right?
I am. Yeah. I work out of my home. I have a home office. My business card carries our corporate office's address. I got a thing about having my home address on a business card. Doesn't feel quite right.
Well, and your business address is Ohio?
It is technically.
Yeah. Okay. What part of Ohio?
In Cincinnati.
Mhm.
That's where our company's been headquartered since its founding back in the 40s. A long time.
Staying power.
Yeah, we've had different names a couple of times. We've been bought a couple of times, but yeah, for the most part, yeah, company's been, as you said, staying power. Yeah.
How are you liking Boston?
Well, I love it. I grew up here,
Oh,
and I grew up actually in the city of Boston in one of the neighborhoods in West Roxbury, if you're familiar with that name.
vaguely.
And when I came to work for the company, it started, but what I call, my career odyssey, and we've lived in 7 different states. We've moved around quite a bit.
Mhm.
And we were in Arizona for 15 years before I took the senior VP job, which opened the door for me to be able to move home. So it was convenient timing.
So you went full circle.
We did.
All right, I gotta go call.
So you should have it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Peter,
Yes, ma'am.
how you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. It's nice to see you.
Nice to be here. I missed that finance committee. In particular, my alternative was remarkably unattractive.
I hope everything went well,
Yeah, we'll know soon enough. Thank you.
as well as can be expected, I'm sure.
Hi, everybody.
We missed you.
Morning.
Hi, Angus.
What's going on?
Peter.
No audio. How's that? Can I hear you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. I was in a meeting yesterday and my microphone went out right in the middle of the meeting.
You're a little soft, though.
Okay. I will try to speak up.
Okay.
If it goes out, I'll come right back in with my phone.
Susan,
Yes.
I'd like to point out that my name is Peter Bierry, and I'm not Linda's iPad. What it says under there. Poor Linda. Can you imagine if she looked like me?
So noted. We understand.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Good
Joan.
morning,
Hey, Joan.
Joan.
Oh, Angus, I like your new look.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. It'll change again.
How you doing, Peter?
Fine. Thank you for asking. I've discovered that old age is not for sissies.
It is not.
This is true. Hi, Nick.
Hi, Joan.
I'm
How are
Joan.
you? Hi, Joan. Pleasure. How are you doing this morning?
Good. How about you?
I'm having no complaints.
And there's Susan. Let me figure out my hearing aids over here.
And this is Noel Bishop. I'm on the call too.
No.
Okay.
Lisa, can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you, Peter.
Would you use your influence to get my name spelled right? It's Bierr, and then there's a IE at the end.
B-E- B-
Bierrie.
Okay, let me see if Joe
Thank
can
you.
change it on there. You're welcome, Peter.
Otherwise, I sound very French.
Okay, yeah, we don't want that to happen, Peter. Let me go see if
Certainly
Joe can
don't.
fix it.
You don't look French at all, Peter. Except if you put a jaunty little cap on, maybe.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Where's everybody? Who we missing here?
I'm just getting Helena hooked up. Just a minute.
Okay.
We're missing Joe.
That Nick or so? Yeah. On October 16th, and welcome everybody. Let's start with the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the
to the
flag
flag of the United
United
States
States
of America and to the
and to the
republic
republic
for
for
which
which
it
it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation, under
Under
God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for
for
all.
all.
Thank you. All right, Charlie, you just want to do a quick roll call?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing here. Leslie, you're here, Virginia?
Yes. I don't see Virginia.
Okay. Angus?
Yep.
Okay. Peter's here.
Yes.
Joan? No, Joan.
Yes.
Susan,
Joan's
you're
here.
here.
She's muted.
She
Joan
was
is
Have a
here.
rep for,
She's
Pardon?
here. She's here.
Joan is here.
Joan's here.
Yep.
Okay. Do we have a rep from Old
I
No.
don't think we have anybody yet.
Okay. And Noel, you're here?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay. We do have a quorum. I'm going to add this up, but we're okay.
Well, to my knowledge, you're only missing Virginia. Everybody else is on.
Virginia, right, and Olyme, so we're in good shape.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is visitors' comments. And I do see that we do have a visitor this morning. I think there's only one, and that would be Nick Pramponis, who is with First Transit. Nick, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Leslie. Appreciate that. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Joe, you want to take the roll down, please, and put everybody back so we can talk to Nick? Thank you. Nick, I've had the pleasure of speaking with you in the past, but I don't think the board really has. And so why don't you tell us if you have something specific you wanted to discuss this morning? This is your opportunity.
Oh, yeah, you bet, Leslie. Thank you. All I really wanted to just chat a little bit about today was relevant, obviously, given the fact that we're all living through the pandemic, is just to give you an idea of what First Transit's experience has been in managing our way through the pandemic, and why it's so important that we all remain diligent as we progress through this pandemic until a vaccine is available to us all. First Transit's Transit Management Division, the division that I lead, has 48 contracts, in essence, where we manage 48 transit systems across the United States. We have a total of 6,300 employees that we are stewards for, that we manage in delivering transit services for all of those communities. And to date, we've experienced 215 positive test results amongst that population of 6,300, which if you do the math on that, you'll find that it's above, in essence, the national average from what you're seeing from the test results. I'm not sure if that's necessarily telling of anything in particular. I would, quite frankly, point to the fact that our employees are really frontline employees. They're out in front, typically with the public, and it's not a huge surprise that our number might be a little bit higher than the national number. The positive test results really across between three categories of employees. We've got operators, maintenance employees, and also administrative employees. I'm really happy to say that we have not had a hospitalization since July. And really early on, back in April and May, is when we saw a handful of employees get hospitalized. And unfortunately, we did have 2 employees that passed away. But since then, the severity has not been where it was early on in the pandemic. Most of the folks that have, actually all of the folks that have been tested positive have recovered and have recovered in relatively quick amount of time, typically within 10 to 14 days, and they've returned to work. We have experienced more recently, which is a bit alarming trend, a bit of a spike with our general managers. We've had 3 general managers from across the country that have tested positive in the last 2 weeks. That's not a good trend. I'm glad to say that all 3 of them are fine. One of them is asymptomatic, and the other 2 had very minor symptoms. So really the punchline is that First Transit is taking the pandemic very, very seriously. We have to. We're frontline and doing everything that we can to keep people healthy and ultimately continuing to provide those services to the communities that we're contracted to serve. That really is about all I had to say, just to give you guys a little bit of an update on that. Glad to be here, glad to be working with Joe. I know he's doing a great job for you all. He's providing great quality service to you all. And we're here supporting Joe as Joe needs. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Look, Leslie?
Sorry, I muted my little self so you wouldn't hear me eat my bagel.
If there aren't any additional questions for Nick, I would like to make a motion that we move the report for the MOU committee next on the agenda, because I understand Noel has to leave.
You want
Is
it
that-
next on the agenda, or do you want it at the beginning of the committee reports?
No, I
I'd
want
like
it,
to, I just, thank you. I do have to get off the phone at 10:15.
I think next on the agenda. And in
All right.
addition to that, the executive session number 2, contract negotiations with First Transit, should be part of that as well.
So are you making 2 motions?
Do I need
one.
to move both of them?
I don't know. Let's see what happens when everybody discusses this. They may want to. All right. So your one motion is to move agenda item 8-4, the MOA committee report, up to the next item on the agenda. So that
Correct.
would be okay. And in addition, to move down to item 15-2, contract negotiations with First Transit, and move into executive session after that report. Correct?
Oh, all right, not First Transit, contract negotiations with DOT.
With DOT, so that's item number 1.
Yes,
Okay. That's fine, that's fine. Is there a second to the motion? Angus? Okay, discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please raise your
Aye.
hand or whatever.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay, in that case, the next item, and well, let me just back up. Nick, thank you very much. Are there any other questions or comments for Nick before we move forward? Well, good morning, Joe. Sam, I see Sam Gold is here. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
Okay, so in any case,
We
thank
have,
you.
and Joe Simolis is here as well as a visitor. I see.
Oh, very good. Good morning, Joe.
I
Good
think
morning,
that's all
everyone.
the visitors I see.
But yeah, I could see on the participant list. That's fine. Thank you. So Nick, anything else you want to share, or do you just want to hang out for a wee bit? Please feel free to hang out.
No, ma'am. No, I really don't have a whole lot more to share. Just happy that I'm healthy and happy that you're all healthy.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Okay, moving along. The next item on the agenda is now the MOA committee report. Susan Tyler.
Okay, we have not met with our counterpart in Middletown, but a couple of things have occurred, some of which we will discuss in executive session. We received a letter from the DOT commissioner on September 3rd, which was a very generic letter of support for the integration. No mention of any of the requested items we have asked them for. We sent back our chairman at Joe Solaris's recommendation, returned that letter to the commissioner on September 17th. Copies of these letters are in the report documents that Joe sent out, basically thanking him for his support and indicating in diplomatic terms that as soon as the issues with estuary transit were resolved, the MOU process would resume. We have received no response to that letter from September 17th. At a separate meeting of the COG with the deputy commissioner there, Noel and Angus both expressed frustration and concern at the lack of progress on our requested items. And thank you to them for doing that. Andreski was directed by the deputy commissioner to meet with Noel and Angus on these roadblocks. And then that meeting took place on October 13th, although there was a difference of opinion among various of us as to the appropriateness of Andreski meeting with only 2 members of the board when we had asked for a full meeting with the board. But nevertheless, that meeting went ahead. And I'm going to ask Angus and Noel to give us their report from the results of that meeting. I don't know which one of you is doing the report.
I'll
Mick, we can't
start.
hear you. Angus, we can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Go ahead.
Angus? Okay, I'll be very brief. Joe and I were, along with Angus, on the phone with Dennis and so on. I think it was a very candid discussion. If you did not know the background, that is to say, the strong feelings that this board has had for a long period of time, and by the way, Angus and I made it very clear, as Joe did, we cannot in any way negotiate for the board. They knew we were having a board meeting this week. We were only there to listen, to make some suggestions back to you. So our what shall I say, our support for the board could not be stronger. And I want you to know that we made that very clear. We're not going to be picked off as 2 selectmen here or Joe and be pitted against the board. Nothing could be further from the truth. The conversation, I think, took place for about an hour. Joe had prepared a list of some talking points, items that had been completed, and outstanding items. And I'll be very brief, and I want Agnes to go in and go ahead and talk, and Joe also. With regard to the extra mile funding, I think that amount was $55,000. There appeared to be a strong commitment that they want to move forward as quickly as possible on that. Now, whether that was going to be 2, 3, or 4 days or a week, I cannot tell you, but there was a recognition that that was something that just needed to be put in place, and we had to have assurance as a 9-town transit board that was going to happen. To summarize a long, long discussion, this is what it comes down to, in my opinion, and this would be what I would say to the board, just to facilitate the discussion. But Miriam, it's my opinion, it's up to you as a board to decide what to do. DOT wants us to begin to put together at least a draft of an MOA. They see that as a starting point. Get that put together, see what that would look like, then we can sit down and review it. I personally think unless we do that, we're not going to move off dead center. That's number one. And I think that I think David Lee, from what I understand from Joe, is prepared to do that, prepared to do it maybe in 3 to 4 weeks period of time. But I can't emphasize enough, I don't think we're going to move forward unless we have an MOA. That gives us all a chance with something in writing to take a look at. We may like it, we may not like it, maybe they're not going to respond to it. We do not know that. So I want to make that point as strongly as I can. The second point I'd like to make, in the conversation, multiple times it came out that even if we put an MOA together with all the other funding we want for positions and so on, the point is that given the state of budget in the state of Connecticut, I should say, the deficits that are looming, there's concern that no matter what we agree to, the funding from OPM may not be there. But I think there was also agreement that we could work with DOT, work with our legislators to do everything we could if in fact we work on an MOA, that we could get the funding in place. The last comment perhaps is more editorial than factual at all. I think, how can I say this? And believe me, I've been through these things. I know our passions run strong. I know we have been very disappointed that there's not been good faith up to this point in time. They've not returned telephone calls. I understand all that. But it seems to me, unless we're prepared to look at MOA, to move this off dead center, it's not going to go anywhere. The other sense I have is that I'm not sure how much longer we can continue to go on our own. If, for example, this all falls through, I think to some extent our survival as Nine-Town Transit, as a small district, may be at stake. So my recommendation is going to be to this board is that we move forward with that MOA, set protocols in place, let David Lee do that. When it comes back to us, look at that, and then engage all the parties. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Noel. I think that the issue of what we decide to do should be left to executive session. But for now, Angus, do you have anything to add to that report?
That was a very thorough report and very concise report of a meeting that went on for over an hour. There's quite a bit of back and forth, and just to reinforce what Noel just said, and by the way, this was responded to in kind. I mean, good faith goes both directions. The two, I can't say the two. Dennis more than once suggested that he needs to see some good faith from the board. That was not taken lightly and was responded to. The board needs to see some good faith from the DOT as well, and frankly, some professional behavior from the DOT. But all that said, I think that there was some progress made as far as getting across to at least these two members of DOT that this board is very frustrated. And I think I sensed a little bit of frustration from them as well. But to reinforce what Noel says, I do think very, very much that the MOA needs to be completed in order for these conversations to even begin, really. So.
Okay.
One thing.
Thank you. I would make one comment before we move into executive session on this, which is that immediately prior to your meeting, Andreski had described our requests to Joe as reasonable and doable. After your meeting, several of those items are now not negotiable or worthy of attention until there's a signed MOA. So they've dramatically changed their point of view. If they had said that back in June, when all of this started, a lot of frustration might have been avoided. But that was the big takeaway for me from the result of your meeting. At this point, I would like to make a motion to go into executive session. That would include Joe Comerford to discuss further the options we have available to us for negotiations with DOT.
I'll second that.
I'd say, Leslie, for discussion, are you comfortable inviting Sam Gold into that executive session also? Because he's been a key player for several months now.
Susan, do you have feelings?
I'm not sure that's necessary.
Okay.
I would like this to be a board discussion, if that's okay, Noel, unless you have strong feelings in another
I have no
direction.
objection. I just wanted to raise it.
All right. Since we're discussing the motion that's on the table, I did have a couple of questions about Noel and Angus's report regarding defining good faith and professional behaviors on whose part and who's on first here. But if that can wait for our executive session, I'm okay with that. Okay.
I can
Fine.
talk about anything.
Any other discussion then prior on the motion to go into executive session? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Good. In which case, Joe?
7 a.m.
All right, are we all
Everyone's
back
getting
yet?
back in. Susan? Suzanne,
Joe,
are
you
you
wanna-
on?
Are we recording?
We are recording. Suzanne, are you on?
Yes, I am.
No, that's Elena.
Yeah,
Suzanne.
Helena's here.
Suzanne?
Suzanne.
Yes, they back. Margaret's getting back.
I'm not sure if Suzanne's on though.
Yep, here she is.
I'm not sure if she's
Here,
listening.
but Noel left.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Noel's gone. All right, Charlie, if you'd make a note that Noel has left the meeting.
I'm gonna get back in.
All right, thank you, everybody. That was great. Susan, thank you. Your timelines, everything, just what we needed to keep us, or the rest of you, I'm not on track. Keep the rest of you on track. Moving along, because clearly everybody has a life after the meeting here. Charlie, we're up to the secretary's report.
Yeah, item 1 is the minutes, the meeting minutes.
They removed me.
What?
What is,
Oh, yeah. I can't get
Go ahead,
back in
Charlie.
because they removed me. I can't get back in. I don't know. I have no idea. You want to watch with me?
Helena,
Yeah.
Helena, mute yourself while you and Margaret are
I'm
chatting.
very sorry. I am. I do.
Thank you. Go ahead, Charlie.
first item is the acceptance of the board meetings of August 21st, 2020. We have a motion to accept them.
So moved.
Second.
A second.
Second.
Any discussion? Have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Next is the acceptance of the Finance Committee meetings of October 14th, this past Wednesday. We have a motion to accept those minutes, please.
So moved, Joan.
Second.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No opposition. The motion passes. That's all I have under the report.
Okay, moving to communications, Charles. Charlie, have we got anything?
I have no correspondence to report on since the last meeting.
Good, thank you very much. I think it's a great report. Treasurer's report, Susan?
No report.
No report, that's a good report too. Committee reports, we've already, number 1, Finance Committee, Susan?
Yes, Leslie, this includes an executive session as well, which is listed under 15, number 2.
Okay.
Do I need to make a motion to move that executive session up?
Yes, you do.
So moved?
Well,
Second.
is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of moving item 2 into the contract negotiations with First Transit, item 15.2, up to this point in the agenda? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Objections? Abstentions? Hearing none, we are now going back into executive session. It'll be full board. Joe, self there, that would be fine. All right.
11:10.
Okay, Joe, you want to bring us back in? Bring everybody back? Start the recording?
Recording has started and we're getting everybody on. So we can
All right,
continue
Margaret,
on committee
Helena,
reports while they get on.
Suzanne. There we
The
go.
other
Yeah.
aspect of the Finance Committee meeting will be discussed by Joe under new business. And before we leave the Finance Committee, I would like to make the following motion. Suzanne, are you there?
She is here. She's just muted.
Suzanne's there?
Suzanne, unmute yourself. But yeah, she's off. She's
Okay,
here.
I just want, because it's a little bit lengthy. Anyway, I move that the Board of Estuary Transit District authorize its chairperson to negotiate appropriate reimbursement from Middletown Area Transit for the Estuary Transit District Finance Director's salary, benefits, and bonus attributable to her work for Middletown Area Transit, and a further reduction in fees owed to First Transit in the total amount of 40% of the combined salary and benefits contract amount for the Estuary Transit District Executive Director. Were you able to get that, Suzanne?
She's still muted and, wait a second. Yeah, she's still muted and invisible. Susan, you have that in writing, do you not?
I do.
All right, so push comes to shove, you can send that to Suzanne or to whomever, right?
Right.
You can, all right. Because we have no proof that she's listening.
Yes, but we need to get her on. Hold on. I'm trying to
All right,
contact.
assuming she will get that, that's a motion. Is there a second to the motion?
Yes, second.
Peter, discussion? No discussion on the motion? Okay, all in favor of the motion to all the negotiations and everything Susan just said? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Thank you.
That concludes my Finance Committee report.
All right, motion to accept the Finance Committee report.
So moved.
Second, Joan, Peter, whomever. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Anybody opposed? Okay, Finance Committee report has been accepted. Thank you, Susan. Thank you very much. Marketing
She's on.
Committee. Sorry?
I was just checking. We just called Suzanne, and we were making sure she was on. We didn't want her missing everything. She's here.
Okay, Marketing Committee, did I do anything? I don't
Wait a
know.
minute, wait, where are we? Hang
Yeah,
on.
let me share. Sorry, I was.
You came out of executive session.
At 11:10.
Any action?
No actions were
No
taken.
action. Okay.
No, we
thank
did have a
you.
motion.
Not
that's
during
right.
executive session, we did
No,
not.
okay, correct.
Yeah, do you have a motion now?
We do. And
Yes.
and Susan's going to send it to you.
You
It's
wanna-
under the,
Yeah, you can put it in the chat if you want, Susan,
Oh, you can just, okay. Can you just
I'll-
or you
read
can
it?
email it.
I'll
Can you
try
just
to
read
do the
it?
chat.
Okay.
Oh, where am I
You can do in the
I don't
chat.
think
You
you
can
can-
copy and paste it right in there,
Yeah,
or you can drop the
honestly,
file.
I would prefer you to just read it, if that's, is it like crazy long or something, or?
It's long.
It is long. I don't,
Okay. My Zoom is, hang on, let me set up.
I can't find my chat,
Or
guys.
email it.
Suzanne, I'll
Or just
email it
email
to
it
you.
then.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
email it to me too, Susan, please. Okay, so, whoops, here we go.
Okay.
Marketing report. Do we have anything on marketing? I didn't even look at it.
You do. It's just opening slow.
All right, fine.
Did you accept the finance committee's report or no?
We did.
We
It was
did.
accepted.
Well, and do you have who made the motion and second on the motion? I mean, who?
It looked
on
like
Susan.
Peter and Charlie.
Peter and Charlie?
How about on
Okay.
Susan?
I made the
Susan,
motion.
she made the
Susan made
motion.
the right. Who
Sorry.
seconded you?
Peter.
I did.
Okay,
Oh, Charlie did.
Charlie did.
And Susan's gonna send me that motion, right?
Yes, I'm sending it right now to Noel.
Okay, okay. All right, sorry about that.
All right. Moving forward into the marketing committee report. Joe, you said we did something?
Yes, my PowerPoint says it did something wrong. Here we go. Okay, so we've been promoting the fact that fairs are resuming November 1st and our mobile ticketing. We also sent out newsletters, several email newsletters. Hopefully you all got them. They covered a variety of things like our mask giveaways, the fairs resuming, mobile ticketing, and then Conda had also asked that we try and promote the fact that the STIP was being advertised, our next 3-year STIP, which is the document that kind of outlines all the capital funding that will go into federal money going into transportation programs for the next 3 years. And we did a bunch of social media posts on that as well. I had put the website report on the drive. You can see that obviously they're still down, ridership being down, so website hits are lower than they've been in the past. And we're going to continue to work the next few months on promoting our new mobile ticketing and trying to get people to move that direction to help reduce the amount of cash sales and give them all the benefits that come with using the mobile ticketing. Is everyone getting our email?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions on the marketing report? No? Okay, well, fine. We don't have to accept that one. So we're going to move forward then to the legislative committee report. Joan?
I think all of you received my spreadsheet in terms of who's running for office. And as soon as we get all the results in from the November election, I'll update it. And so all of us will have a copy of who the legislators are that will be dealing with post-election. And I think Joe wanted to make a comment because he received something.
Yeah, so in a couple months ago, I did get a call from Representative Joe Courtney to congratulate us on our CARES Act grant that we received. So he just gave me a personal call to thank us for all we were doing and express his gratitude and appreciation for the fact that we got this funding and that we'll be able to continue to provide service to coronavirus. So we thought that was a nice gesture for him to make that phone call.
That chart was very helpful, Joan. Thank you.
Joan, anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, motion to accept the legislative committee report.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Come on, Charlie.
okay, all in favor? Thank
Aye.
you. Great, great report. Thanks, Joan. Number 5 on the reporting now, and we're down to the COG update. Joe?
Yeah, so we lost Sam. So I don't know if there's a whole lot to report besides the fact that they have also been advertising that STIP document, which again, as I said earlier, was that the document that says how federal money is going to be spent over the next 3 years. And they're going through that comment period now. I think it just closed. Yeah, it did just close last week. And I don't know, Angus and Noel, well, Angus can probably add anything else. I don't think there's anything else too pressing at the moment that would involve us.
No, nothing that involves 910.
Okay, then I guess that's the whole report. I don't think we have to accept that one, do we? I don't
No,
believe so.
usually don't.
Okay,
It's an
moving
update.
along then. If that's it, thank you very much for that update. Sorry we lost Sam. Moving to item 9, the executive director's report. Joe?
Okay. Let me get that up. There it is. Okay, so I was asked by State Senator Cohen to meet with the town of Guilford, and she joined us as well, obviously all virtual, to talk about what services we offer. The town's interested in expanding their transportation options. So we had a good conversation there, and it was good to have Senator Cohen there as well because she got to hear a lot about what we do. Our second allocation of CARES Act money is expected by the end of this year, and that will include the extra $1,025,000 in extra mile money plus whatever else we should be due. We don't know what that is yet. We'll be negotiating that hopefully shortly. Clinton Trolley wrapped up its second year. And we did expand the route this year to go to another marina. But of course, with COVID, it was still down, and Margaret will go over those numbers in more detail. Mobile ticketing is live, and we've already had 12 passes sold on it. And we're working to try and see if we can get that into our real-time location app. So trying to make it so people don't have to go into multiple apps, just be able to look up where their bus is, and ideally they'd be able to then just hit another button in there and pull up their ticket and not have to exit, go to something different. That's kind of one of the challenges right now. All this new technology's out there. It's great, but they're all in different places and they're not unified in one spot. And with the funding agreement from DOT for Extra Mile, we'll be able to expand that 40 hours per week, which is what we've been wanting to do for a while. That's going to help us reduce the wait times. They're now nearing 13 minutes for our median wait time, and our longest wait times get significantly longer than that during our busiest times. So this will allow Extra Mile to continue to expand. I think that's one of the things now. It's kind of going to prevent it from expanding. Is if we can't get those wait times down, people aren't going to want to keep using it.
Excuse me, Joe, could you just clarify, the Extra Mile money is coming from where?
It'll be directly from the feds. So we're applying.
Is it CARES Act money or DOT? You said DOT.
Well, it's CARES Act money that is being, given to us through DOT.
Yeah, but it's not DOT money, is it?
No, much of our funding is not straight from DOT. A lot of it comes from the feds and passes through DOT. This will not even have to pass through DOT. This will be, direct Fed money. It'll work a lot like our CMAQ grant works, except that there's no match. So our CMAQ
I just would like the record to show that expansion of Extra Mile is not reliant on DOT funds, seeing as we can't seem to get $55,000 out of them. And I would like the record to show, and Suzanne, if you'll reflect this in the minutes, clearly that any expansion in service is being paid for through CARES Act and/or Fed money. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
And that's pretty much all I have.
All right, I have another question for you. Have you been able to reach Tim Griswold, and what are the prospects that we're getting for getting a replacement representative from Old Lyme?
We've spoken, and he was working on getting somebody in our last conversation, and I've followed up and haven't been able to connect. So I don't have an update of when he'll have somebody, but he was invited to this meeting.
All right. I don't have any other questions here. Thank you for your report. Anybody else have comments or questions? No? All right. Well, in that case, motion to accept the executive director's report.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, or I'm sorry, discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Moving to item 10, Finance Manager's Report. Helena? Is Helena with us?
Mute. I'm sorry, I'm mute. I will be very quick because we only 2 months into it in my report. So everything is on track, everything with the budget, so there's no deficit. So there's no concern about it. So that's it. So actually, the only one thing as you can see, that I haven't closed September yet, but for those 2 months, it seems like $6,000 we made on the trolley. So.
Okay, questions?
Okay, you guys wanted me to go through it, or this is okay?
I think, does anybody have a question? Do you need detail, or
Yes.
you have copies of it so we can move forward without, let's go forward, Helena.
Okay, Joe. Is the cash flow? Okay, the cash flow, as you can tell, looks very good. We have money, we have no concern, we should not have no concerns, which is another good, great news for us. We have $445,000 on our account, and as you can see, we still, actually, we already received the CARE Act money. It's very quick. By the time I prepared this report, they were in our account, so it will move up to the bank. So that's even more money in that bank. So we have no problems. So everything looks good.
Good, thank you. Questions?
Nice report.
There you go. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
Nice report. Okay, Helena, are you all set?
Yes.
Okay, motion to accept the finance manager's report.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Charlie, you want to be the second? Okay, is there
Second.
discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good, fine. Thank you very much, Helena. Let's move on to our operation manager's report. Margaret, how are you?
Hi, everyone. Happy
Hi.
Friday. All right, let's begin with our ridership numbers. So from when we started looking at it for the new fiscal year, July through September, we've seen an increase of 1,000 riders from July to now. The trolley, as Joe stated earlier in his report, it did start slowly, very low numbers. Strangely enough, though, when we had the power outage, we did see a spike in ridership because people stated that since they had no power, they had nothing else to do, so they got on the bus. So we were grateful that it was available for them to utilize. XML continues to see a consistent flow of riders. We're looking at from where we were in July of 800 riders, we're up to about 925 in September. We are still serving those who are using it to go to work, and they're very grateful to have the service available to them. We are looking at staff now. We had one driver retire within the last 3 months. One resigned due to family personal reasons. But we were very fortunate to welcome aboard 3 new drivers, 2 full-time, 1 part-time. And we have 2 more pending, another part-time and another full-time. We had 2 mask giveaway within the last 3 months at the Old Saybrook bus shelter to promote mask wearing by our riders. Social distancing on our buses. We have signages on our seats. We have notices posted all over the bus that mask is required and social distancing is required. We are still working on getting the buses cleaned every day. So if they go out, they are definitely cleaned the same night. That way, when they go back out the next morning, they've been clean, they've been sanitized, they've been deodorized, and they're ready for clean usage. We started the radios. We had a little bit of kinks along the way. People are still trying to get used to transitioning from cell phones to radios, but it's definitely going smoother this week. We have not used cell phones at all. We are all radio, and of course it's challenging, but it's definitely going in the right direction. Finally, even though we are not allowed to go out for trainings, we are doing a lot of online trainings. We've done the sexual harassment training, which is through DOT. We've done slip, trips, and falls through First Transit. And of course, we have to get drivers used to seeing the new apps being used for ticket purchases, the transit token. We're advising riders to, use their mobile devices. We have a strong usage on the extra mile service due to a lot of people who are repeat riders finding it very easy to maneuver, booking their own trips. And that's my report.
Wonderful, thank you. Any questions? Questions, comments?
I just want to quickly add that for September, we were back up to 80% of our pre-COVID ridership.
Hey,
So it's coming back.
that's terrific.
Slow, but no slower than expected, probably even a little quicker than expected in some cases.
Good. Excellent. Okay, so motion to accept the operation manager's report.
I'll move.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, because there's no discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Margaret. Great report. Sorry you had to wait 2 hours to give it, but we're busy people here.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
What? Oh, you're welcome. Have a happy weekend. Okay, old business. Bus study update. Is there anything, Joe, on the bus study update?
No, it's just the team is still finalizing the route recommendations. So we should have them in the next couple of weeks. The final, they're doing all the evaluations of what the recommendations will cost, everything we need to then go ahead and, if we choose to do any of them, advertise them to the public for comment and have a price and be ready to go. So we expect that shortly, in the next few weeks. And that will be the final item for the bus study. That will wrap it up.
Okay. Questions? Anyone on the bus study? No? All right, the COVID update, COVID-19 update. Well, Margaret just told us about the buses, right? Hand sanitizers, barriers, when we knew about those.
The yellow barriers are brand new. They just got done last week. So you can see a picture of them there. These are high security ones. These are designed for assaults as well. So they are very heavy duty barriers. And you see the hand sanitizer we've installed in every vehicle. And again, the big thing is fairs resuming November 1st. So we've been kind of getting Stop and Shops restocked, getting our dispatchers restocked. Actually, while we've been on this phone, people were just in here buying tickets. And just planning out what the new processes are going to be for safely handling money and and all those things. And again, promoting that mobile ticketing to try and cut down on cash as much as possible.
Okay, good. Questions on that? No? Okay, good. Extra mile fare. Yeah. We talked about that a little bit the other day. We didn't come up with anything good. How are you doing with that?
You wanna
You
go?
skipped.
Oh, sorry.
That's the
I
third
skipped
item.
it. I skipped a whole, I was in a hurry. Skipped. So that's it. That's all. Is that all the old business? Sorry. Yes. Okay, new business. The PTASP plan adoption.
Yes. So this is a new FTA requirement. It's due by the end of the year. The state came up with a template plan for all of us to make some modifications to and then adopt. And so there you have it there. Once it's adopted, we'll submit it to CONDOT as part of the larger state plan that they're sponsoring, and then it just kind of stays in our records, and FTA will be checking on it to make sure we've implemented it and are following it.
Okay, so it's a work in progress, more or less?
No, it's done. It's ready for approval.
Okay,
We sent out in all the package.
okay. Questions on that? No? Compensation review?
Oh, we need approval.
We need approval of the PTASP plan adoption?
Yes.
Oh,
We need
all right.
adoption of it.
Is there a motion to
I
adopt?
move that we adopt the PTASP plan as presented.
Second.
Second is Angus. All right, discussion?
Hey, Joe, is that going to require any additional personnel or time on your existing personnel?
Yes, it requires extra time and new tracking requirements and new reporting. And it's been, unfortunately, that's kind of just been the past decade, or well, more than that, of the federal government. You know, all the federal money comes with more and more requirements every new transportation bill, and this is one of them. So, yeah, it's going to be challenging, and it's one of the reasons that we were really pushing for a safety person in the study. If there's a combined district, because you now have to do much more on that side. So it is going to be tough. It's one more unfunded mandate. A long list of unfunded mandates.
Yeah.
Joe, once this is adopted, when does it actually go into effect?
Immediately.
Immediately.
They
Okay.
were supposed to be due July 1. FTA gave a pushed the deadline because of COVID, but they have to be fully in place prior to the end of the year. So.
Or what?
Or you risk your federal funds.
There we go. Okie dokie. So, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of adopting the PTASP plan?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Abstentions? Good, we've adopted it. Thank you and good luck implementing it. Compensation review. Susan, do you want to do this or Joe?
Joe can do it, but the Finance Committee did make a recommendation to the full board.
Yes. You want me to go over it, Susan, and then you'll give the recommendation? Okay.
Sure.
Yes.
So it's that time of year that we review our compensation. So what we came up with for options for the Finance Committee, what you see before you. So we were looking at 3% for drivers, everyone's not a bus driver, that retro July 1 because they've been on a July 1 year. And then for drivers, they've been on a different year because we've been giving them a bigger increase the past few years to kind of get them up to be more competitive with other bus drivers in the area. So our last driver increase was $1 on January 1st of 2020. So we came up with either a 50-cent proposal on 1/1/2021 or $1 on 1/1/2021. But the idea of a 50-cent one was that if we went that route to have the goal of doing another 50 cents July 1. And the reason to do another $1 is the minimum wage just went up $1. So we're trying to stay ahead, to try and keep the driver pay up above minimum wage, relatively the same to where we have been. Because who's going to want to be a bus driver if eventually it's close to the same as a job with much less responsibility? So those are the various scenarios we presented. Susan, you want to talk to the recommendation there? And you see the cost associated. That's a 6-month cost because that was what the cost will be this year. In future years, it will be double that.
Okay. What the Finance Committee recommends to the full board is that non-drivers be given the 3% increase retroactive to July 1st of this year, and that drivers be given a $1 an hour increase, also retroactive July 1st of this year. The impact of that for both groups of employees because of the retroactive payment is a several $100 bonus in effect for the retroactivity, which will come around the time of the holidays, and that will be a nice thing for staff. And that was the recommendation, at Joe's recommendation, that the Finance Committee adopted as a recommendation.
And that was something, that's something I missed covering. So one of the things we discussed too was how do we recognize, work done through this pandemic, and we did give one bonus back in May, but of course it's continued on, and hasn't ended as quickly as we all hoped. So that's what we decided that would be a good way to compensate for that, show our appreciation for working through those tough times. And as Susan said, doing it retro makes it come like a bonus without it being another bonus, and then starting to get that expectation out that there'll be bonuses annually. Because hopefully this is going to end and we get back to normal times in the not too distant future.
Okay, so how do you want to proceed on this? I mean, we should try to make a decision. Joe and Susan, what is your preferred scenario?
Oh, it's what
I make a motion?
You want me to make a motion?
Yeah, why don't you make a motion?
Okay.
Yes, please.
We move that the non-drivers of Estuary Transit District receive a 3% salary increase retroactive to July 1st, 2020, and drivers receive a $1 an hour increase, also retroactive to July 1st, 2020.
Effective when? When do you want that $1?
It's effective July 1st, 2020, because it's retroactive
Okay,
for both of them.
gotcha. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion for the salary increases and bonus? Hello?
Aye.
Everybody? All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any objections? Abstentions? Hearing none? Thank you very much. The motion is carried. So that I don't skip forward inadvertently here. Extra mile fare? Joe, you were talking about, I know the Finance Committee, Joe and Susan went back and forth on what number that should be, since it's time to start charging for it. Did you come up with, oh, here's your scenarios. Okay, fine. This is you're looking at.
This meeting is being recorded.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I accidentally hung up my phone and lost the audio. I hit the wrong button. Okay, so what we started the conversation in the finance committee about where we're going to set our extra mile fare. Not that we're going to set it yet, but to start getting some guidance as where we want to go, so I can start working with our vendor there on that, and we can start again putting it together, because soon it's going to be time to charge a fare, and we'll make that decision of when is appropriate time separately, but we just want to get an idea so we can start doing the background work needed, because unlike most of our fares where you just charge it at the fare box, we have to set it up into the app for all the app users, so there's programming behind it that has to happen. And it involves multiple players because there's separate payment processors from the app vendor and all this stuff. But anyway, so we just so up there, up on the screen, you see our current fare structure. And that's just for your reference. But the discussion we had was, keeping it within our current fare structure somewhere, right? And whether we want to lean more towards the fixed route costs, since these are short trips in nature, much shorter than Dollar Ride, even though it's a service like Dollar Ride, they're very short trips. Or do we want to go more towards the Dollar Ride cost? So that was really where our discussion was, and the other discussion we had was that being closer to if we're more in line with fixed route cost, then we can, I believe, I got to speak more with the vendor, but I believe we can then tie it better into our fixed route system, because we do have people who are transferring between the two and use both. Like 66% of the people when we surveyed said they use both services. So a lot of people are using our route and using our extra mile. And so it seems to me that if we could tie those together, it'll be very beneficial to our customers. And again, when I asked the question, no one had posed that to them before, so they were researching it, because no one's looked at it that way, and looking at it as one system that all works together. But that was my thinking, and I just want to, direction from the board that is the way we're looking at. But if you told me no, go a much higher rate, then that's going to change that entirely, and then it wouldn't work together. So we kind of just want a sense to the board of where we see this being priced, so we can continue work on it. And again, I bring it forward now because this is such a new service. We're piloting it. Most of these around the country are still free, so there's not a lot of precedent here. We're really in new territory, so there's no right or wrong answer here. It's whatever. This too is a pilot, and this will be a demonstration for others out there.
All right, people, your thoughts? Nobody has any thoughts? Okay, so Joe.
The finance committee basically supported keying these rates to our existing fares in a way that could be handled electronically that was the most efficient for our riders.
Sounds reasonable.
Seems to make sense.
All right, so do we have a number? Do you want us to place a number on this?
I don't think we have to yet. As long as I understand that's a sense that if we're, if everyone's comfortable with us being around that, being at like the $1.75 price range, and let's say that we're necessarily tie us there, but I want to, if I know that that's okay, then I'm going to push in that direction to try and get everything to work together so they all work on one system. I mean, they all do. It's all one payment process. It's confusing, and I won't get into those details, but and again, a lot of this, like I said, is because we're really early adopters of this. I'm asking them for things that they've never heard of before, and so they're just kind of, we're trying to work together to see what the technology can do. But my ideal scenario is you have one electronic pass to work across both systems, so that if you need to continue your trip on to like New London, Middletown, that you can do that easily all in one place. You're not paying multiple fares, having to get paper transfers and all these things. If you paid for it, if your trip in the Extra Mile app, then you can just show your ticket. It generates a ticket also for fixed route that you can then easily transfer on, if that all makes sense to everyone. And
Good.
and if you buy a monthly pass, maybe that monthly pass works on everything too. But that might be a little trickier at first. But that's kind of where my thinking is try and make this one system that all works together.
Do you need an action from us or?
I think a sense of the board is all I need.
All right, I personally am on board with the way you want to handle this. I think it sounds very sensible. Anybody else?
Me too.
Finance committee was as well.
Okay. Good. Okay, so much for Extra Mile. Any other new business that we didn't note down here? No? Okay, then let's move on to the chair comments. I just have one for Charlie. The policy with the board is if you miss 2 meetings in a row, that we need to, Nottingham Transit is required to notify the first selectman in the town so that they know that they have not been represented. And unfortunately, we need to have some correspondence sent to the first selectman in Clinton to reflect the fact that we haven't seen Virginia in a couple of meetings. So Charlie, can you take care of that?
Well, that's a conversation we need to have at the end. We just got some information on that this morning.
Okay, well, that was my chair comment. Sorry about that. I have no others. You've heard enough from me. Board member comments?
Leslie, I have a question for him. The $55,000 that's been requested in Nolan Angus's letter to DOT, what was the subject of that $55,000? Or what was that spent for?
That's Extra Mile money that was spent last year to run the Extra Mile because CARES Act money, which is now being used to pay for this year, only retros to January 1. So we can't use CARES Act money to pay for the service that we ran in 2019, and that equals $55,000.
Okay, that was basically the startup done.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Leslie,
Any other?
I had one comment, which is thank you all for your forbearance. I'm sorry we had to take so much time on some of these issues in my areas, but I appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you for all the extra effort you've put into timelining and for the executive sessions and for everything else here. You've made it really easy for us to follow what has become a very complicated set of circumstances, in my opinion. Any other board member comments? No? All right, hearing none, we moved, we have nothing else in executive session since all that got pushed up. Joe, you said we had something to say?
Well, I'll talk to you about it after the meeting.
Oh, after the meeting. Okay, good. And our next meeting is scheduled for December 18 at 10 o'clock. Notice it's at 10 o'clock because it's usually our Christmas meeting. And that's how we've sent that information to the Secretary of State. Other than everybody wearing something Christmassy and bringing a nice Christmas meal to the to your Zoom table, I guess that's it for our party this year. I'm not going to get another nice, Lisa usually gives me a nice present. I'm not going to get one, huh? No plants, no roses, no flowers. All right. Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Fine. Peter and Angus, first and second. I know there's no objection, so all are in favor. And I thank you all very, very much for your patience and for the fact that I don't control my emotions very well. I'm working on it. Like a little kid here. I'm gonna go get a piece of candy. Thank you very much, Joan.